Welcome to the Creative Business Community Podcast, where creativity meets business. I'm Erin Madeley, and each week we'll share stories, tips, and inspiration to help you grow your creative business. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Creative Business Community Podcast. I'm your host, Erin, and this week with me I have the wonderful Lucy. Lucy is the founder of Not Yet Perfect Studio. So Lucy was born in Norway and raised in the serene surrounds of WA's southwest. She spent more than a decade working in the fashion industry, both here in Australia as well as overseas. And in 2018, what started as a small get-together pottery class and a weekly pottery and wine night in her living room started to grow and quietly evolved into something much bigger, which is now the Not Yet Perfect Pottery Studios. So Not Yet Perfect is a boutique studio that runs here in Applecross, offering soul-soothing workshops and inspiring masterclasses. So Lucy, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That
was quite the introduction. I was like, oh.
You sound very impressive.
I know, I like her too.
So Lucy's actually my pottery teacher as well, and I also help out in the studio a little bit.
A lot a bit.
Well, so a little bit. So Lucy and I are we've known each other for a number of years now. Yeah. So when we started the podcast, I thought Lucy should come and tell her story.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about the philosophy behind Not Yet Perfect.
Look, Not Yet Perfect's philosophy is one that has just come from, I guess, just living what I needed in a business, if that makes sense. So just being in a space where I was working in a high pressure environment and kind of feeling like I was losing myself a little bit in it all, trying to keep things together and finding something that was so grounding and that just brought me back into myself. And to do it from a place, especially anything creative, from a place of not striving for perfection. Because that was the joy-sucking thing out of every creative pursuit that I kind of found myself in.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the arts, I loved everything creative, but also just finding like, I have this perfectionist need. And it's really kind of...
It sucks the joy.
It just takes the joy out of it.
Yeah.
And how do I get to a place where I can just be and enjoy the process? And pottery was an answer to that.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I was like, I'm sure I'm not the only one.
No, definitely not. Yeah. And I think it's a really wonderful philosophy that you've, taken into running a business, is that we don't need to be perfect, and things that aren't perfect are really joyful and special as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you find wrestling with perfectionism now that you've turned the pottery into a business?
Erin, this is only question 2 of this interview. We're going straight there. All right. Yeah, how do I find perfect? Well, honestly, it's a daily battle because when you're doing anything, well, I think just my own personal standard, and anything you present to the world, you want it to look and feel and be a certain way. And letting go of that need for it to be, in my mind, what I perceive as perfect, which I've never attained, so I don't know why I continue to go for it, has just been actually a really humbling experience, because you can strive and strive and strive all you want. You never get there, but then you miss the beauty, and you miss the beauty of the process, the beauty of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I lost the why behind what I was doing anyway, because I'm just looking at that perfect goal.
Yes. And like you mentioned, it's not attainable, because what we perceive as perfect it's an ever-moving goalpost, right?
Exactly. Oh my God.
What you think is perfect, and you're like, oh, but I could do better, or I could be more, or I could add a new thing, right? Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I've learned in that is every time I start striving for perfection, it's almost like I have to let go of who I am. In the sense, it's like I abandon myself to reach something that I'm not going to attain.
Yeah.
And that is the part where pottery has been so powerful for not just me, but seeing and observing it. Because when you're observing people in a similar pattern to what you've been in, you see it differently, and you're like, oh. And then when you start speaking to them about it, it's like you're speaking directly to yourself. It's very humbling.
Yeah, and it's also, I always say to people as well, it's like, would you talk to other people the way that you talk to yourself?
And it's that same thing within creativity and business, is that like if you were looking at your work but it was somebody else's work, would you feel the same way about it?
Yeah.
And I think that exactly what you're talking about, seeing that in other people when you're teaching classes.
Yes.
Yeah. Big wake up call, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is.
So, do you think that your time in the fashion industry kind of shaped the way that you feel about perfectionism and how it kind of applies to the pottery that you do now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In like a good way and a challenging way. I think fashion shaped the way I see design, creativity, business, branding, a lot of good things. Like, I think it was such a great foundation. And I learned so much from it. I think I can separate the creative from the business, because where creativity is, I feel like that's more of an identity thing for me. And that's where I need the perfectionism. But whereas business has always flowed very easily for me.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I never believed growing up that I was like the business person or the smart girl to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And when it came, I was like, oh, this is fun. So I've kind of just played with it and learned and like grown in it. But it was never like I am this business person in the way that I wear creativity as an identity.
Yeah.
So I never had the same amount of pressure on that as I have with pottery, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think it's a really interesting way to look at it, is that, and I think that's probably going to be something that resonates with a lot of the people who listen to this podcast, is that being creative is part of our identity, but running a business probably isn't. I mean, I feel like over the years, that shifts and changes. So for me now, I couldn't imagine my life not running a business, because it has become part of my identity, but it never used to be that way. Yeah. Interesting. So tell us a little bit about your experience in the fashion industry. Like, I would love to know about how you started out and how that evolved over time, and maybe some lessons that you learned along the way.
Absolutely. Fashion was my first love, Erin. It really was. And I think I was 8 years old when I decided I was going to be a fashion designer, and that was it. Like, there was no question about it. I pursued it. I was making ball gowns for my sister's friends, and when they were in year 12, I was in year 10.
Wow.
And they were in the paper, and that was like my moment, right? They made it in the Bunbury Mail, and it was like a really big deal for me as a 16-year-old, because I was like, this is what I want. And always like entering any fashion competitions in Perth and things like that, and eventually went on to study design at Curtin Uni, and finishing that I got so many great opportunities, one of them being to go and work in Japan designing textiles with 2 amazing textile companies, and working alongside a designer called Akira Izugawa, who, it was a bit of a surreal moment, because I was previously working as a stylist at David Jones and selling his clothing, and then next minute flying to Japan with this man and doing our own design projects, but working for the same companies, and just so many doors opened and so many things were just coming my way. And designing for a sustainability brand in Fremantle, working for them in India, in Indonesia, and creating collections and prints. And I don't know, if people, I guess, saw my range and believed in me at the time, and just kind of knocked on the door and said, will you come and design for us? Will you
That's
go
amazing.
It was surreal.
Yeah.
It was so incredible. And I think I was just had opportunities to go into spaces that I never really would have maybe even pursued for myself, because I had a very one-dimensional idea of what I was going to be in the fashion industry. I had never really delved into textile design, and it expanded my ideas around design and how to take concepts and build them out. And I actually feel like that was a kind of foundational thing in creating Not Yet Perfect, because creativity went from just being about fabric and fashion to, oh no, it's actually in business, it's in design, it's in branding, it's in every aspect of what we do and in our life.
Yes.
And having that design foundation, and then going, oh, it doesn't just apply to clothing, it applies to everything and anything I want to, take it into. And I feel like that just opened so many more doors in the world for me. So
amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wow. I'm kind of a bit just blown away at like the wealth of experience and knowledge that you've like obviously been able to accumulate over your time. And one of the things that I'm quite curious about is Do you think that for people who are wanting to go into running a creative business of some description, do you think that they need to go and do some study, or that it's worth them going and pursuing? Because I know it's a question that a lot of people probably ask themselves, especially if, you know, from such a young age, you're very sure that this is your path in life. So what was that university experience like for you?
Oh, university experience was great. I'll answer your question in a short way. Yes and no.
Yeah.
And and my reasoning being, so I actually went through the route of going to TAFE first.
Okay.
TAFE was very like, this is how you make a pattern. This is how you tailor a suit. Like, it was really practical and hands-on. So then going to uni, I went straight to the final year because I got exemptions for the first 2 years. And I could actually like create the concepts that were in my mind. It wasn't just, I've created a beautiful concept. I could now actually make the garments. And university won't teach you, you know, pattern making and tailoring and sewing and all that.
The actual hands-on.
Yeah, the hands-on things. You're not going to learn that. But you're going to learn the conceptual stuff, the theory, and they both have value. But I did like my path in teaming them together, because once I had this crazy, amazing idea, I could make it. And that was important to me.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of, does someone need to study in order to start a business? I wouldn't let a lack of studies stop you from starting a business. However, one thing about my journey in Not Yet Perfect that a lot of people don't know is 2 years prior to starting the business, I didn't know what business I was going to start. I just knew I wanted to have a business.
Yeah.
And I was like, every day after work, I'm going to spend 1 hour reading every business book I can get my hands on. I mean, I was reading books on American tax law. Like, I was like, that's the book that I would read anything.
Wow, that sounds so dull. At least to me anyway.
No, Erin, it was absolutely, but there was 2 reasons why I persisted in it.
Yeah.
I read the books, one, because I needed the knowledge. I persisted in the books that I didn't particularly enjoy, or like I'd get 2 pages in and be like, I hate this, because I was used to getting into something, not liking it, and then being like, I quit.
Yeah, okay.
And
so you had to push through that.
Yeah, and that was more of a mindset thing of, okay, if I'm actually going to start this business, sustain a business, and push through all the challenges that are going to come, because they'll come, then if I'm going to start a book and it be boring and therefore put it down, I'm not building the strength in me and the mindset that says, when boring, challenging things come, I'm going to put it down. Because whatever I'm doing here now, I'm going to do in my business. So there was 2 things in it. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't just the reading. I'm like, that was a terrible book. I wouldn't recommend it. But
you were teaching yourself skills.
But I was teaching myself some skills that I really needed, and just identifying the patterns in me that weren't going to serve me as a business owner. So it's get educated, like get resources, information, people's community that will support you in that journey. The education that you get doesn't need to look like a business or a university degree, but you definitely need information, resources, help, something, right, to get started. Because as you learn, and as we both know, like the further you get along, you get into it, you realize you can't have all the knowledge. People are going to come with that knowledge and add to what you're doing. But at the same time, there needs to be a foundation of, I'm willing to grow and expand, because my business will only grow to the level that I will grow.
Yeah. So, and if you don't push yourself and challenge yourself, then it doesn't work.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned, 2 years before starting Not Yet Perfect, you knew you wanted to start a business, but you didn't know what. So talk a little bit about maybe how that kind of evolved. So it obviously, when we talk about Not Yet Perfect, it started with this, pottery and wine night in your home. Yeah. And then that's where you decided to go with your business. So I'm really curious how that evolved for you.
Yeah. So there's I guess like a bit of a gap between the fashion industry and the business. So I spent 3 years I'm working at a high school teaching, and I was working with at-risk youth. And this was a very bizarre career turn. So I was actually, I got this job application and I saw it and I just thought, I don't know if you've ever had that moment of just like knowing something is yours. There's no logic behind it. It's just like
a gut feel.
It's just a gut feeling. I just saw this job application and I'm like, I don't know why, but that is my job. I meant to work at that high school. And I just come back from like a project in Indonesia. I just finished another collection for the store and I'm like, what am I doing? But it just felt so right. So I applied. On my resume, it's like fashion, 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 fashion. There's no teaching. There's nothing. Like, the only work I done with young people was through sports, because growing up I was coaching netball and all these other sports. So I was like, you know what? If they don't want me, they won't call me for an interview.
Yeah.
So be it. But I just know this is my job. So anyways, I went ahead, applied for the job, and they called me in, interviewed many people, and I got the job. Least qualified person. Went and worked at the school, and I think just being in an environment with young people going through really challenging experiences, I needed a creative outlet because just it was quite jarring going from creative to administrative, behavioral management, classroom, like just classroom stuff. And pottery came along. One of my colleagues was doing, would go to after work to this pottery class with all these retirees, and she's like, come along. And I thought to myself, no, that sounds boring. But she persisted, and eventually I went just so she would. Sure. And she was right. It was wonderful. Like, I just fell in love with it. And that was essentially the beginning of me going, oh, this pottery thing is great. Not with the mindset of I want to start a business in pottery at all. Just this is really relaxing. This is enjoyable. Let me keep doing this. It's really good for my mindset. And I'm not sitting in front of TV trying to zone out.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and then I was bringing into the classroom every now and then with the kids and just being like, our Wednesday was our free day. I was like, what activity? I had to come up with an activity, and one day I was like, pottery, because it's good for me, it will be good for them,
kids,
and let's do it. And they loved it. And I think I just saw the transformation in that 2 hours of them going from these really high energy bickering and all the things and all the energy that teenagers bring, which I love, by the way, but to like just soft and gentle and open and easy to talk to them. And I was like, this is doing something. And it's not just doing it in them, it's doing it in me, but I can't see me. But I'm observing what they're going through, what I'm going through them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is powerful. Like, if not for the beautiful things that they make, for the transformation that's happening internally, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I think just seeing that, something clicked. And from there, it just, things just kind of marinate in your mind. Like, you know you've witnessed something good, but you don't know what to make of it.
Or what to do with it.
Or what to do with it.
Even if you need to do anything.
Exactly. And quite frankly, at the time, I don't think I needed to do anything other than keep bringing it to the classroom, keep teaching, keep learning. That was it. So I did that. And alongside that was I want to start a business. I'm going to read all these books. I'm going to learn all these things. I'm going to put myself in rooms that I feel uncomfortable in and learn from people who are doing it already. So those things are both like happening at the same time, but they've not yet been married, right?
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, the genesis of it. And then towards the end of my teaching experience, which was like a 3 years I was there, I would say 6 months towards the end of it, I was feeling I need to leave. Like this is my time here is up. I'm going to start this business. And at this point I was like, it's going to be fashion or pottery, but I don't know. But I'm going to resign. And it was kind of like just I see like it's a Tarzan swing, like just leaping, letting go of one rope and praying to God another rope is going to be present.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was the vibe. And it was. I was like, I posted on Gumtree. I feel like people don't even... People
don't use Gumtree as much anymore.
Thing?
So, well, I mean, look, I go on Gumtree personally, but I feel like I'm in the minority. I've been told apparently Facebook Marketplace is where everyone is now.
Yes. So back then, it was Gumtree. And I just remember posting 2 ads, a sewing course and a pottery course on Gumtree of all places. I didn't know the things, okay? I didn't know you sold tickets on Eventbrite or Humanitix or whatever. I wasn't in the know, right? But I just posted on those 2. And funny enough, I got students for sewing and I got students for pottery. I was like, cool. So we did that. And then the next time I was like, I feel like the pottery thing just feels more right in this moment. Like, and that was kind of it. And then I was like, oh, I'll do the pottery thing again, but just like one-off around my dining table. And I sold tickets for $35 and everyone who came I knew. And that was week 1 of Not Yet Perfect as a kind of business concept idea.
Yeah.
But I still didn't know at that point that I was starting a business, as silly as that may sound.
Yeah. I feel like that's not an uncommon thing that you hear, is that, you know, you start this thing and you don't realise that's the first step.
Yeah.
You eventually go back and look at it and go, oh, actually, no, that was the first step of me going down this path.
Yeah. And I kind of love it because it's like, I didn't know. It's like you've planted a seed. You don't know you've planted a seed, but you see something growing and you're like, oh, I'll just keep watering it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it looks pretty. It's nice.
And eventually we'll see what it becomes.
Yeah. And that's it was so organic. It was so, like, I think that is the beauty of it when you're not fully, how do I put it? I want to say it well because there's things, I think with fashion, it was so curated. I wanted to do it since I was 8. I had all these ideas about how it was going to be, who I was going to be, what I was going to do. It was just so
planned out.
And I think I was gripping to it so tightly that it couldn't happen. Like I was suffocating it because I wanted it so much. Whereas pottery was just like,
It was much more organic growth.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
The way you describe it.
And it was just happening and I was allowing it and I was just going with it. And I think there's that level of surrender because you don't know what it is and because you're not blocking its growth because of all the things in your mind that you feel it should be.
Yeah.
Whereas with fashion at that time, I had so many ideas of what it had to be right, to be perfect, to be da-da-da-da. And it's like, you're killing the thing. Yeah. Let it go.
And I think you're absolutely right in that, you know, it's if you have preconceived notions of what something should be, it's so easy to get lost in the journey of what it could be in terms of like you say no to opportunities that you might not otherwise because it doesn't fit the mold of what you think
so true
it should be.
Yeah.
So you've got these, you know, little get-togethers happening at your home. At what point in time did you realize, oh, hey, this is it. This is the business, and kind of do something to push it?
This is going to sound silly, but 2 years later, it took me 2 years to realize that this is a business and I should push it. Like I was doing it and I was like, I think my nature is that if anything I do, I want to do it well and I want to be consistent with it and I want to make it like a good thing.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. I did the house, like I did it in my home for 3 months and then found this little space in, which was formerly known as Feld & Co, which is still known as Feld & Co. Yeah. And yeah, I was kind of just doing this weekly thing. But then in 2019, so a year and a half later, I was like, oh, this thing has legs. I need a space. I need a home. I need to make this a bit more permanent.
Yeah.
So that was really when I started thinking, because I feel like when you start to hire a space, like when you're like signing your, you know, lease and paying rent, it's like, oh, this is getting real. Like I'm committing to this thing. Yeah. So that was probably the moment of, I need structures, I need systems, I need help. Yeah. So that was probably the moment when I started thinking about looking for a studio.
Yes. And then you mentioned, you know, needing structures and things in place. So when you finally made that decision to go into your own space and set it up as a business, did you have somebody who mentored you or helped you along the way?
No, I actually never had a mentor until I'd say 2023. So everything I had done up until that point had been from experience in terms of, and I think I need to credit this, like working at that high school, working with 40 students in a classroom, and it was a startup school. It was a not-for-profit. And I entered that school in its early stages. It didn't have systems and structures other than like obviously the legal checks. Like we have to teach waste subjects. But like how to run a classroom, I built those systems.
So you had some experience.
So I had experience from that. Yeah. So it's funny because when I look back at that 3 years in teaching, that was my setup to run this business. Everything I learned in that classroom in how to manage the students and how to manage parents' expectations, administration, like all the different agencies we were working with. Essentially, that's what I was doing in Not Yet Perfect, but it just looked different, right? It was a different outlet. Yeah. So I felt like I could just take, whenever I didn't know what to do, I would give it some thought and I was like, oh, actually, I've done this before. This feels familiar.
Yeah.
So even that process felt very organic because it wasn't there was no one saying, this is your next step. It was like, this is just what I know. This is what's in me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great lesson for people to learn, is that if you're starting out in a business and you feel like you don't know something, it's just to pause and reflect. Yeah. Because chances are you do know more than you give yourself credit for, because you've had all of this life experience along the way, and you may have learned the lessons that you already need.
Yeah.
So with all of the workshops that you do, one of the things that we've chatted about before is that it's not necessarily just about coming and learning some pottery skills. It's very much when you're attending a Not Yet Perfect workshop. And I remember being in the workshop, the first one that I booked, and we kind of all went around and what was everyone here for. And it's rare that the reason they're here is to learn a pottery skill. It's often I'm taking some time for myself, or I'm, it's around self-care. So I feel like a lot of that is kind of built into the way that Not Yet Perfect runs. Was that intentional?
Yes and no. I would say at the very start, it was done out of a place of, it's always been there because it's always been in me. It's what I've learned through teaching, through fashion, through the demands of life. Like, if I neglect myself, nothing good will flow through me, because business, life is is an extension of who we are. So if we're not taking care of ourselves, like, what we produce is going to reflect that as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's always been in the business, and teaching definitely solidified the importance of that in me, because in trying to take care of all these kids and their needs and stuff, I was like, I'm getting left behind, and I can't actually serve them well or do my job well if I'm not taking care of me. And that's when pottery came in. So yes, it's always been there. I don't think I had the maturity to fully see it at the starting point. But then when I understood it better, had language for it, then I could really be more intentional around integrating that into what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I, like, to this day, it's like the number one thing. It's like such a foundational thing in my life. I know it's very trendy, but it's more than that, because like, we are, and excuse the pun, but like, we are like vessels, right?
Yeah.
We really are. And whatever we put in ourselves is what we're going to bring out to the world. So if you're putting in time and care and effort and love, when you get tipped out, when someone bumps you, whatever's in you is going to come out of you, right? And I see that so clearly in me when the days that I'm angry and frustrated or something, someone like pokes me a little bit. It's like, it's a really not a big deal. It's not an issue, but that's going to come out because that's what's in. And that's okay that we have those emotions and we process all of those things. But being intentional, knowing that this is a full day and I want to bring my best self to everything I do. And not just to serve people and look good for everyone, but because I'm the only me. You're the only you. I can do things in a way that no one else on the face of this planet can do it. And I don't think sometimes we see the value in who we are to that extent that we're like, oh, no one is bringing to the world what I'm bringing to the world.
Yeah.
And when I see that, and when I like fully embrace that, it's also another, I guess, push to go take care of yourself. Because when you own something, a physical object, and you know it's the only thing, like the only one of its kind, how much value do you place on that? So how much more so me, a human living being in this world, to not value and take care of myself in that way. And Not Yet Perfect for me is like, it's this sanctuary that I'm hoping that people will step in and go, you are literally the only vessel of you in this world. Like, every piece of pottery you make, whether it be so beautiful, weird, organic, it is the only one made by you. So love it or hate it, like, see the value in it because it was made from your hands. You're more precious and valuable than that.
Yeah.
And I think, just all trends aside, all social media like slogans aside, we are human beings. We have a value that is beyond anything. And what we offer to the world, when we do it well, it literally is transcendent. It's beyond pottery. It's beyond markets, what you bring. It's beyond whatever, but we have to actually be able to see that value. And often we see that when we get so still, and pottery offers that stillness that you can go, oh, this is who I am. These are the thoughts I'm thinking. This is what I am, the value and things I have to bring to the world. So for me, come to the pottery workshop, don't come to the pottery workshop. The point is, I want people to see that they are so valuable.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love that. I love that so much. And I think you do a really amazing job, providing that beautiful space for people to have that realization as well. It's like a breath of fresh air walking into the Not Yet Perfect studio space. It's just...
You're going to make me cry. Oh my God.
This is why I was like, can I come work for you, please? I just want to come and be... it's going to sound a little woo-woo, but it's like it's an energy that you can feel, right? And so and it's that whole thing of, you're absolutely right, you're a vessel, and if how you're feeling inside, if someone was to bump you, what you feel spills out. And I think that it's I hadn't ever considered it that way before, but you're absolutely right. And I think that part of the beauty of what Not Yet Perfect does is help people to refill their vessels with a just really wonderful, beautiful experience. It's just rejuvenating. I love it so much.
Thank you, Erin.
I'm just a little bit obsessed. We've been talking for a little while now. So how long has Not Yet Perfect been running in its kind of, I guess, formal phase now?
From 2018 to now, it's been 8 years, but I would say we kind of grew up when in 2020, I would say, was the year that was like, no, this, like, we're running, like, let's do it. And I think in that moment, I was like, let me pull from every experience. Let me bring my fashion experience in it. Let's create a collection of workshops and give them like visual appeal, and not just like in everything, in the branding, in the imagery, in the way we're talking about the brand. Like, let's bring all of that in, and let's get systems and structures so we can have staff and employees, and I don't have to do it all myself, because if it's just me, I'll burn out, and that doesn't align with my self-care and all that kind of stuff. So like it's grown, and to be fair, like, a lot of people have come in and built those systems for me. Like, it's like the right people came at the right time. Specifically during COVID, when a lot of my friends who were in corporate jobs, logistics and shipping and accounts, they all either lost their job or their businesses closed down for a period of time. They all came to Not Yet Perfect. I was blessed with like very, very competent, powerful women to come into my business and go, you need this, you need this, you need this. We've built it, now run with it. So I cannot take and do not take credit for a lot of the things that are holding this business together, because what they built in 2020 is still holding us. And yes, we've grown and expanded it and, developed it further. But I can say I attribute a lot of our growth and a lot of success to that team at that time, because they pushed me beyond what I thought I was capable of. And they were like, no, you can do this. Keep going. And I'm so grateful for it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really great thing for people to know that there are people in their corner who really believe in them as well. So I feel like a lot of the success and growth behind these creative small businesses, yes, it comes from having structures and systems in place, but I feel like having those people in your corner who really believe in you. And that's not always your family. It's not.
I mean, my family's great. Let me not be like, my family's been great. But no, I hear you.
It's such a common thing that I hear from other people, is that, it's not necessarily the people you expect who are going to be in your corner pushing you. It's some of these other outside influences, and having that knowledge that other people really believe in what you do is really valuable as well.
Absolutely. But I'll add something to that as well, because I think in teaching, that's one thing I saw and experienced as a student myself in high school. Like, you have that one teacher who's like, you can do it. And you're like, yeah, I can do it. It's amazing. But I also think when you become your own cheerleader, when you go, I can do it, because everyone can cheer you on. But at some point you need to stop and go, do I believe in me?
Yeah. Because
sometimes like the cheerleaders are there, and then they put their pom-poms down and walk away for break.
Yeah.
Do you believe that you can continue it? And I think that's like the fortitude that I wanted to build in me, and reading those ridiculous books. I'm like, I believe I can do it. I don't like it, but I'm going to do a lot of things I don't like, but I need to keep going. And encouraging yourself. Like, which I think sounds silly, but is so necessary. And to go, okay, like this is a tough day. Because if you're in business, we all know.
Well, there are going to be tough ones.
There's plenty of tough days. You know, the Instagram feed can look perfect. You can still like bawl your eyes out and still film a video and then bawl your eyes out after. But life goes on.
Yeah.
And I think my big challenge was learning that in 2020 because I got very unwell for a period of time. And it's still a challenge to this day. But it's like the world doesn't stop because we have a challenge. And yes, we're gracious and we slow down and we do all the things we need to take care of ourselves 100%. And you give yourself time to heal. But I think what kept me going, because I've wanted to quit many times. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But what has kept me going is like, I have a vision and a belief that what I'm going to do and bring to this world is going to teach people that they are, like I was saying, like the value that they hold. And I won't put that down. Like I won't, like that's what my mom said to me the other day. She's like, you don't give up. You don't know how to. I'm like, sometimes I want to, but it's true. I won't do it because whether it's through Not Yet Perfect or something, the vision is bigger than my pain. It's bigger than my discomfort. It's bigger than all the negative things that I might say to myself or the self-doubt that I have. And it keeps me grounded because I believe in that vision. And ultimately, and we had this conversation recently, like I've had my moments, but deep in my heart, I love people.
Yeah.
And I think like it's just so, I don't care whether it is like the most brilliant CEO billionaire or if it's someone in a pit who doesn't know what left or right, like just is completely lost. It doesn't matter. We're made of the same thing. Everyone and anyone can be anything that they choose to be. And I think having that belief, one in yourself, and then encouraging others people in it because you understand the value and seeing them through that lens is something that's too important to me.
Yeah.
So
that makes me really curious about how do you balance that, I guess, ethos and belief and mentality with the creative side of what it is that you do, as well as running a business, as well as holding space for people. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see it like this, and you'll understand this, and I think most people will understand this visual. Everything, like, let's take a marbled piece of pottery. We've got a bit of clay. We've got 3 different types of clay. One is holding space, one is creativity, and one is business, for example. Put it all together, wedge it all up, it's all in there. Yeah, it's all your life experiences, it's all the things that you have gathered on your journey. And then you put the clay on the wheel and you start to throw. And you make a vessel. And you can stop there, or you can go look around and like, there's more people coming, which means I'm going to need more water in this vessel. So you pull the clay again and you expand the capacity. It happens slowly, it happens intentionally, but it happens if you stay centered and you stay on the wheel. You stay in the process. Yeah? So in that, it's like, I can hold space for people. I can continue to be creative. I can run this business. I can only do it if I do it slowly. I can only do it if I stay centered. I can only do it if I keep my eye on my hands, not on all the moving parts, not on the wheel itself, but just on the very spot of clay that I'm working on in that moment. And when I do that, it's like the growth is happening. And you know when you pull clay and you expand clay, sometimes the growth is happening, but you're like, I'm pulling forever, but it doesn't look like anything's happening. It's not until you take a step back from the wheel and you go, oh, it got bigger, it got taller. Let's do it again. I almost see every year of business as another cycle on the wheel, like another full pull where everything's getting bigger. But then I also see the full process of, heck, I need to just sit there and dry so I can actually hold the thing, right? And so there's just like a lot of waiting. It's like, I want to be there, but in order to get there, I can't just jump. Like you can't just put water in bone dry pottery because it will just go back to clay.
Yeah.
So I just have to sit and wait because that's the maturing process. And now comes the fire. You know, like you got to go through it to get out all the impurities, all the like mindsets that aren't going to serve you in the next phase, all the limiting beliefs that aren't going to help you, all the self-doubt, all the self-hate, all the anger, everything in you. And And I think that's the hardest bit, because we don't want to admit, let me speak on myself. I won't put it on anyone else. I don't like to admit that I have things, like I have a lot of things I love about myself, but there's a lot of things that I don't want to look at. Like in the full human that I am, there is like not nice stuff in me.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we all have that. I once again, well, I won't speak for everyone else, but I can relate.
Let me say it this way. If we're both human, we both got the same stuff.
We do.
And that's the real, but like getting to that place where you can be so authentic, because my business only grew to the level of my ability to be honest with myself. Like, for example, finances. Creatives talking about finances and business, you know?
It's my worst thing. I hate it so much.
It's like, let's be real. It's like, do you have enough money? If you don't, say no. But then the shame and the this, can we afford this? We can, but we need to make a plan. Like just little things, like the tiniest things in the way we do business and in the way we do life. It's like, if we can't get 100% honest with ourselves, how are we, everything we're doing is flowing through the dishonesty that why am I afraid to tell myself the truth?
Yeah.
Right? Why can't I look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, Lucy, you probably can't afford that. Stop spending more money than you're making. Or, hey, Lucy, just pause, because you don't need to impress everyone. And what are you trying? Who are you doing this for? What's the show for? And just being honest with myself about who I am, what stage of life I'm in, and go from there, because I can put a show on for everyone, but if at the end of the day my business is falling apart, who am I serving?
Yeah. And I think this it brings to mind for me, when you're talking about, you've got this idea of where you want to be and you can't just jump to get there. But I think also that, where does the idea of where you want to be come from? Is it something that you genuinely internally want yourself, or is it a societal expectation of this is what business
you should have,
and this is what you should have? And is it growth for growth's sake because you're trying to impress somebody else, or is it something that is generally going to resonate with you internally? Because once you get to that point, you have to continue doing something with it.
Yeah.
And if you take, to go back to your metaphor of the piece on the vessel on the wheel, is that if you take your foot off, is the whole thing going to slump because you've not gone through the process in a mindful way and with a conscious thought of where you're going to be at the end of the pull.
Yeah. Well, I can speak on that because I had a very embarrassing moment, and it took me a few years to get over it. And it was now I look back and I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Every business person, every human being is going to have moments where they're like, I did that. I was that person. But years ago, I wanted to expand my business. And it comes back to what you just said. It's the intention. There's nothing wrong with having a really large business or a really small business. Have whatever business is right for you. But I think in my intention behind it didn't even align with my own values. And in pushing and pushing and pushing to make this thing happen, this growth happen, I lost myself in the process. And it was honestly the most humbling, embarrassing at the time experience I'd had. And I did it twice. And I didn't learn the first time.
That's okay. I'm sure I've done it. I've done it more than once. I'm sure I'll continue to do it, where I have this idea of what I think this should be, and and this is where Chris, my husband, is in my corner going, Erin, why?
Rein it in.
Because and especially because we are creative people who it's very often that we'll have this idea or this thought or, this spontaneity of wanting to try different things.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't come from an internal place of alignment or an internal, like a genuine alignment with your core values or your why of why you are in business. And this is why I've talked about it on the podcast with others before, is that you do need to go back and reflect on your why. Your why can change, and that is fine. But you do need to pause and reflect before you make those big decisions and jump into things with both feet. Does it align with where you're genuinely needing to be in life?
And also, like, just sometimes I'm like, rein it in, Lucy, and do the thing in front of you. Like, have the vision, but the growth happens in the mundane moments. Like, have the vision, but then come to the studio and make some pottery, answer your emails, do a post, then go home and clean your house, do the laundry, cook dinner, eat, and sleep, because you need sleep.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like...
Cannot value that hard enough.
Like, it's the most basic, mundane things that actually keep this thing alive and going and moving you towards your vision. Because when I put a piece of clay on the wheel and it's a lump of earth and I start spinning, it's like, I want it to be this tall and this big, or you still need to sit there and just center the clay. Like that tall thing's not happening until this clay is centered, until you've opened it, until you've let the wheel spin so many times that you've pulled the height that you want. And sometimes I think it's the shift in focus and getting caught up in, I just want the big thing, as opposed to the big things happening when you're in the mundane.
Yeah. When
you're just doing the tiny steps day by day and the disciplines that we all know got us here in the first place. And then we forget and we're like, fireworks, I want fireworks. Like, just chill, just turn the light on. Like, just turn the light on and do the work. Like, so yeah, it's a process. It's a learning.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of really deep things. So let's do a quick fire round of fast responses.
Let's go.
Let's just, lighten the mode a little bit. So how many times do you get a ghost reference during workshops?
Every week.
Every week. What is a creative ritual that you swear by?
Ooh, meditation. I don't know if people consider that a creative ritual, but for me, it is. Yeah, it's my centeredness.
A favorite tool or material you can't live without?
Green juice. I know that's not even a tool or thing. Did you say thing I can't live with?
A tool or material, but
cucumber, celery, and lemon. No, it makes me feel alive, and I just. I feel like I drink my green juice and all of a sudden, like, I'm a creative vessel.
Oh my goodness, okay, I might need to try that.
That's so ridiculous, but I'm serious. Anyways.
Early morning or late night in the studio?
Early mornings. Morning girl.
Do you have a current creative obsession?
Ooh, I'm getting back into sewing and big vessels. Right now, I just want to sew and make big vessels. That's it.
And one word to describe your creative journey?
Oh, peaceful. Peaceful.
I love that.
Yeah, that was easy.
Wow. Well, it's been an absolute delight having you come into the studio and chat, Lucy. I feel like I could talk to you all day, honestly. But we've come to the end of our time together, and every week we like to give a shout out to another creative small business that is doing amazing things that people should go and check out, which we call our Creative Business Spotlight. So Lucy, who do you think we should go and check out?
Creative Business Spotlight. I would say a girl called Coralie, Coco Studio. Yeah, she's not new. She's been doing her thing for a long time, but she's exceptional.
Amazing.
And she is a photographer, videographer, content creator. She's been a part of my journey, and I just feel like she resonates all the good things that make me love and still have hope in this creative industry. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we will leave some links in the show notes so you can go and find Coralie at Coco Studio.
Yeah.
And so what's next for Not Yet Perfect?
That is a great question. And honestly, for the first time, I'm thankful to just be sitting where I am with holding that vision and that desire to help people see their value and to go back to a place of letting it happen organically.
Amazing.
That's it. Yeah. That's it, Erin.
So if people want to connect with you, find you online or book into one of your wonderful workshops,
yes,
where can they do that?
So you can find us at nyperfect on Instagram, or you can go to notyetperfect.com to book our workshops and just come and hang out in the studio. I'd love to meet you all.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Lucy. And thank you everyone for listening. And we'll catch everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Creative Business Community Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and join our community online. Until next time, keep creating, keep learning, and keep building that business you love.